Great. Well, I am so thrilled to be here with you today, David. And it's been a couple of weeks now since we've gotten to know each other, introduced to each other through Wake Up and through our mutual friend Steve. And I'm really interested to hear about yourself, what motivates you in life here, and really to talk especially about your wonderful product here, the Coil. I think this is one of the coolest things that I've seen when it comes to however you want to talk about energy healing, biohacking, frequency generating, field resonance, all this type of stuff. When I look at it, it reminds me of some type of ancient technology that maybe we've lost touch with for thousands of years, or it's been exclusive to groups of people, elusive to the rest of the population. And now with this really cool science behind it. So anyway, I just maybe if you want, just tell me a little bit about yourself and share what brings you to do something like this.
Right. Well, you know what they say, right? Whenever you have a scratch, you want to find an itch, you want to find a scratch to scratch the itch. So my itch was that I was sick. I had an incurable disease. I have digestive disorder that I had for 10 years. So for 10 years, I was looking for a solution. I tried all sorts of different things, naturopathic medicine, conventional medicine, medication. Nothing worked. And then I said, well, I just want to pursue my spiritual wellness. So I want to deepen my meditation. I want to kind of explore that side of myself. And I got more into frequencies and like meditation frequencies, which led me to like meditation technology, which at that time was using electromagnetic generator and electromagnetic emitter, which I kind of fashioned out of some copper wires and some equipment and some software. And at first, I just wanted to deepen my meditation. Then I discovered something called Rife frequencies, which, if you're familiar, Dr. Rife came up with thousands of frequencies, and he was able to cure 16 cancer patients back in the 1950s and 60s. Long story short, he was assassinated because the big pharma didn't like that he was able to cure cancer. But then I started to use those frequencies for my digestive issue. And lo and behold, 90 days later, I was completely cured from a disease and condition I had for over 10 years. So that just flipped the switch for me in my mind. And I said, you know what? How come there's not more people who know about this technology? And how come, people are not using it themselves to better themselves? So I said, I got to figure out a way to make this technology accessible and so simple to use and such a low cost that everybody can experience it and everybody can transform their lives with it. And that's how I created my Chi Life store, or my company, my brand called Chi Life, where it's basically the motto is transform yourself 1% a day. So it's all about transforming yourself. It's all about becoming better. And then if you can see, there's a Chinese thing up there that says transform or better yourself every day. So that's my motto, right? I want to better myself every day, and I want to help other people better themselves every day. And this is like literally probably the only system that you need to transform yourself, because Nikola Tesla says, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. Well, this is exactly what it is. It is frequency, energy, and vibration. There's a lot of people out there that are very, very famous, and they talk about changing your frequency to change your reality. A lot of them say that, and they do that through meditation, which is great. But not everybody has the discipline and the focus and even the time to meditate. There we go. So not everybody has the frequency, not everybody has the time, energy, and focus to meditate. So now with a device that actually meditates for you, because all meditation is just changing your brainwaves, changing your frequency, using breathing exercises, using visualization, using relaxation to literally just change the frequency of your cells in your body and your mind. So you can do it with just meditation. But what if there's a technology that meditates for you, right? What if a technology that just where you just flip a switch or tap a button on an app, and it just meditates for you. So that's what it is. I created a system where we have about 900 different meditation frequencies. We have 10,000 different right frequencies, and you just turn it on, and actually it tunes or it calibrates or resonates your cells in your body and your brain waves so that your nervous system is tuned to whatever you want. So it could be something for deeper meditation. It could be something for regeneration. It could be something for even open up your pineal gland so you have more intuition and you have even higher psychic experiences.
Wow. Wow, that's so cool. That is so cool. And when you mentioned Nikola Tesla, of course, that just just no pun intended, rung a bell inside of my experience here with that idea of frequency and energy, and even that ancient technology. The image comes to mind of his Tesla tower, and just these coils that he would use to generate and resonate these frequencies. So it's very obvious to me that this is included in the design. So I'm curious. So in terms of the design, what were obviously Nikola Tesla was an influence for you, but do you have any other influences that help guide you on creating? Because now for everyone watching like this is the Chi coil here, portable one, and it's got, yeah, there you go, and it's got this beautiful design to it, a spiral. It has a torus type of look to it, a toroidal donut shaped coil, and it uses copper, right?
Right.
So what were kind of your influences on designing this? Did it come in naturally, intuitively to you? Did you have to spend a lot of time researching that? How did that work?
Well, I needed to find a shape that generated a very large magnetic field in a very small, compact space. So, I mean, we tested all sorts of different designs and configurations, and basically this is it. So this is the single winding. This is the double layer one, this is called the Coil Max. This is called Coil 3S, and the one you have is a Coil Mini. So, it's based on how nature works, right? Like I remember, like 20 years ago when I was a kid, I saw a little documentary talk about the torus, about being the shape of the universe and being the shape of nature, right? Because you see the Earth's magnetic field is shaped like a torus, and even our own magnetic field that we generate from our body is in the shape of a torus. So that inspired me, is like, why don't I just make something in the shape of a torus? And
yeah, it makes perfect sense. It looks right for that. And one of the things that came in the package here are these little magnets where you can use to essentially see with your own eyes and feel with your hands, and the vibration that the field that's being generated from these chi coils is actually happening with that. Now, are there studies, or do you have any thoughts on what other ways to measure this field? So like you said, you wanted to generate as large of a magnetic field as possible and as compact of a space as possible. Is how big does this field actually get? Like, one of the things I was thinking about when I was using this was, how close does it need to be to me? Of course, in a quantum universe, there really is no separation of objects. So I'm sure too that even just having it on my nightstand table is going to create an effect for me. But do you have any thoughts on, like the distance of the person, like the placement of these things? Like, how does that feel?
Generally, it will be around 3 to 10 feet, depending on the device, depending how high you turn up the power. Generally speaking, the larger the coils, then the larger the field, and also the higher you output the power. Right, we have the kit that attaches it. You turn on the power. So we have different kits. Some of them are stronger, some of them are just normal, like this one. So you can basically customize how far it goes, but generally, if you're just about 3 feet away from it, that's good enough. You don't need to put it on your body. You don't need to touch it. You can just place it on the table in front of you, and you're receiving the energy. If you want something to permeate the whole room, then you can use a bigger one, or just turn up the power on the amplifier.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. It's so cool. And I love the interface of the app when you look at this, very user friendly. And I noticed there's just tons of different frequencies. And I'm curious too, like you said that you've mentioned there's rife frequencies. And I'm wondering if maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that. Uh what are, for anyone that's listening right now that may not be aware, what exactly are rife frequencies? And also when it comes to the other frequencies that you've accumulated on this app that you can resonate with this device, what determines the frequency? Like how does one make this frequency will provide relaxation, or this frequency will provide, for digestion? Like
right.
how does that work when it comes to frequency?
Yeah, that's a pretty complex question, but to answer it simply, there's different techniques for creating frequencies. So Rife is one technique. Quantum frequencies we have on our app is another technique. Higher quantum frequencies are a combination of other techniques. Okay, so let's just talk about Rife, for example. So what Rife did and how he came out with these frequencies was he used a electromagnetic emitter to broadcast frequencies, and then he used the microscope to look at leukemia cells or different kind of cells. And he would tune the frequency up and down a little bit higher every time until he found the frequency that would basically make the cell implode. So in the same way where you see the opera singers, they have a glass of, and then they sing, and then the glass shatters because that glass has a resonant frequency. And if you hit that frequency, it will vibrate the glass so violently that it will shatter itself with just using sound. So the same thing happens with electromagnetic waves, not just sound, because cells are so small, you'll need to have an electromagnetic field that goes through the skin and through bones and through liquid to affect it. So what happens is Rife, he discovered frequencies that could shatter literally cancer cells. And you see on YouTube now, there's some guy called Anthony Holland who does the same thing. He uses frequencies. He shows under a microscope of them exploding, like actually in underneath the microscope. So we know this works. And since then, there's many of people and many scientists who have developed more frequencies, which are also do the same thing. So either the frequency can shatter something, or it can incapacitate a certain cell. Let's say we find the length of the tail of a parmecilium, and then we have a frequency that targets that length, because a length turns into a frequency if you calculate it, right? So you find the wavelength of it, vibrate that tail, it will come off. So now that cell or whatever that virus is cannot move. So that's another way of doing it. So there's different ways of using frequencies to do these things on a microscopic level. So that's just the right frequencies. And then we have quantum frequencies. You're probably wondering, well, where did these come from? Well, these come from either nature itself, sacred geometry, or brainwaves. Okay, so let's talk about nature. So nature, the Earth has an electromagnetic field. And not only has a field, it has a frequency too. So Robert Schumann figured out that it was about 7.83 hertz. And that is the frequency that's called the Schumann resonance.
Right.
It's my dog.
Yep, got it. It's always good to have dog energy.
So he figured out that was that's the frequency on Earth, and lots of scientists since then have experimented with that. They would play that resonance in underground bunkers where they were shielded from any electromagnetic fields, which means including Earth's magnetic field, and they would basically turn it on and off, and then notice that the people inside the bunker would become healthier or less healthy depending on whether they played this 7.83 hertz. So that's one way based on nature's frequencies. There's sacred geometry, right? If you look at like flower of life, there's geometry in there. There's ratios. There's the golden 5 ratio, which is 1.618 and so on. There's pi. So there's many very sacred numbers in numerology as well. So those can be converted into frequencies. And also we have pyramid angles. So the Great Pyramid of Giza, that's the epitome of frequency and ratio and geometry, right? So we use those geometries to create frequencies, another set of frequencies. So that's sacred geometry. So there's a whole set, like there's hundreds of them we have. And the third thing, as I said, was brainwaves, right? So our brainwaves each brainwave, delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, has a frequency range. So when you play a frequency in that range, they will actually activate that brainwave in your brain and give you that mind state, or give you that mental or consciousness state. So let's say that we want to get in the delta state, we want to get the deep sleep. Well, why don't we create a frequency that has that and also builds a harmonic based on that frequency? So we have that as well. So, and that's just the beginning, because now with our higher quantum frequencies, there we incorporate a whole bunch of other techniques in there, which get pretty advanced, because nobody else is doing this, by the way. Is we actually take the geometry of the molecules themselves. So DMT, right? Dimethyltryptamine. It has a geometry, doesn't it? So what do? We figure out the numbers of that geometry and we create a frequency from it. And not only do you create frequency, geometry, when you turn it, it has different numbers. So if you put it on the graph, even when you do like 3D design, you have X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z axes.
Right.
If you turn it, each number on the axes will change. So
Yeah.
what we do is we actually take the molecule and we turn it on these axes, and each time it turns, we take that frequency. So when you listen to that frequency, it's actually playing a rotating molecule frequencies.
Whoa.
In three-dimensional space.
Wow.
Nobody else is doing this. So when you are playing that frequency, DMT frequency, you are receiving a three-dimensional representation of that DMT molecule in an electromagnetic field.
Wow. That is exciting. That takes it to a whole nother level too. And excuse me, there's one of the things this is making me think of, I'm a huge movie guy. I went to film school and I'm a huge film enthusiast, and it's really amazing to see what kind of ancient wisdom or messages are encoded into these movies. So like when you watch a movie and you see there's a plot line, oh, this guy has to go get this thing and bring it to the lady and destroy the bad guy to save the day. Like that's your plot line. But then the deeper down below, there are these other things going on. And for example, in something like Doctor Strange, which is a movie that's out now, where they're doing all of this conjuring with frequency and vibration, essentially with their minds and their intentions. But they have this special little ring that they have to wear in the movie in order to actually manifest this stuff. And a big plot line that comes with this is that they kind of think, and you think in the beginning, it's led to believe that you need this device to, like you're not really doing it. It's the device that's doing it. Mm-hmm. But what ends up you find out is that it's essentially just amplifying what's going on within you.
Exactly.
And there's even these other plot lines where like sometimes you don't really need the device, but ultimately it helps amplify your power. And in a way, this kind of reminds me of something like that because of the fractal nature of it. You mentioned the golden ratio and how we have this nature ratio within ourselves, and that by using something like this, it amplifies it. Because like you said too, you can get into a state of meditation, but not always have the discipline or the focus or the attention or whatever. It takes practice. It takes time to be able to get into those conscious states. And then something like this is just like, here you go. Here's the bicycle that'll get you where you got to go a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's an amplifier. That's basically what it is. So, I mean, not everybody's like Captain Marvel and they just get imbued with like superhero, like the top level powers and everything, and they don't need any device. But then there's people who like Iron Man, right? He's just a regular human. You need a device to amplify your power. You need a suit. And then we have people like, like you said, Doctor Strange, that needs these crystals and needs these artifacts in order to enhance them. And it's not only in superhero movies. We see that happening in the Bible.
Yep.
As well, like the Moses had a staff, and he used that staff to perform the miracles. He didn't just use his hands, right? And so there's different levels of superpowers, so to speak, right? Not everybody's born like Captain America, or not everybody's born like when Captain Marvel. Not everybody has innate natural abilities that are born with this, special abilities. But then everybody can amplify whatever they have and then actually make it grow. So I call this chi energy, right? And everybody has chi energy. Some people have it more than others. Some people have more sensitivity to it, like there others, like Star Wars. Some people are force sensitive. Some people are not force sensitive. Some people are strong in the force. Some people are not.
Yep.
But but everybody can cultivate whatever's inside of them, make it grow, as well as amplify it by using technology.
Yeah, that in itself is probably the best case scenario for technology. It helps amplify and harmonize our relationship with each other and the environment, and how we use it is that way. And there are certain technologies that are invasive that you have to, really put yourself at risk in order to use, like whether it's factory farming or industrial, nuclear power and stuff like that. But back to Tesla and the ancient wisdom and everything there, it's so cool because this is like you mentioned, the pyramids, the the energy of these places on the earth, because even the chi coil itself, like you mentioned too, is the earth has this magnetic field, and it has these ley lines and grid points, and structures like the pyramids and others, many around the world, are built to essentially balance, harmonize, resonate on a frequency level
Mhm.
to help create stability and also health and affects the weather. I mean, all of these types of things. So I'm curious now, just thinking about this, as you had this personal experience of healing yourself and applying this knowledge and wisdom into creating a technology that can help other people. What is your vision for the world with something like this? How do you see this playing out? Where, let's say, everyone starts using this kind of technology, um, what kind of outcome do you see happening from that?
Well, it will change the world as we know it. We won't have as much disease. People will be a lot more open and a lot more loving, a lot more caring. We wouldn't have any environmental issues, though we have an abundance of everything, of food and of supply and materials, and people would be in a better mood, and people will be a lot more optimistic and more willing to cooperate with each other. I think, yeah, that's just the thing is just, I think just the whoever's in control, they just want to increase their power, increase their control, and the way to do that is trying to make everybody else screwed up, right? Like economically, especially now with inflation, right? Screw us financially, screw us over health wise, right? GMOs, like genetic, basically tampering with our genes using
Yep.
the V word,
Yep.
right? And screwing up with our minds with entertainment and with media and things like that. So basically, we're being attacked on many different levels, spiritually, and then spiritually goes out the door because we don't have our health, and we don't have our mental health, and we don't have financial health. It's very hard to pursue our spiritual calling, right? So they attack us on, we're being attacked on many levels. And not only that, they're using frequencies too. Like, do you think the government doesn't know that the frequencies affect the mind and affect the body? Of course they do. And
They're
that's
just
kind of,
using it for a negative purpose. There's even technology they have with up in Alaska, and these harp type frequencies where they can blast frequencies up into the upper atmosphere and
yeah,
affect weather patterns. And it's just like, again, back to using technology, but it's not the technology, it's how they're using it. And sure, they are using it for negative purposes, which is, again, a really great thing that you're doing here, is bringing this technology in for a positive purpose.
exactly. Yeah. So I just want, like, 5G is a big concern, and it's already here. And then, we fought the hell against it, but then we lost. And they just rolled out all these 5G towers. While there was this pandemic, under the radar, they built hundreds and hundreds of 5G towers, and they launched everywhere. So now basically they can target any person's cell phone anywhere with a frequency. And this frequency is so powerful, it can affect brainwaves and affect cells, even more so than the 4G.
Yep.
So and now it's everywhere, and now everybody's affected with it, not just in the cell towers, not just near cell towers. That's worse, but everybody's affected with it. And now people are wondering, why am I feeling so anxious all the time? Why can't I sleep? Why can't I fall asleep? Why am I so depressed? Why don't I have any motivation? Why am I so confused? They ask that, and the reason is because their frequency is all screwed up. So, and then they do yoga and they do meditation. It helps to bring your frequency back into tune. But then you're fighting against technology with just yourself. You're fighting against technology doesn't require human effort, and you're using your own human effort to fight against a machine. How can you
Yeah.
do that? Right?
It's straight up the Matrix and the Terminator and all of those things
Yeah,
combined into one real life
exactly.
thing too. And then even with the essence of community, how community is really the driving force of evolution. And when you bring people together, it amplifies that frequency of especially when people come together in community, when there's a shared agreement or even just a shared feeling that we're all in this together and that we all have share a common goal of, let's say, like, let's be healthy, let's like take care of ourselves, let's take care of the environment, some very basic things like that. Then there's a real chance to create a field that could override these technologies that are out there. But then, of course, like just touching on all these issues that we have with the problem, that's a big problem, is that community is being disempowered, and it's like, stay home, don't talk to anybody, don't look at anybody, and then again, that just makes it much more advantageous for these things such as 5G, or even just the consciousness, like all of these different fields. And we think about, there's this war, there's that war, there's this war, and all these different wars. There's really only one war, and it's a war on consciousness. Would you
Mhm.
would you agree with something like that?
Definitely. I mean, I was raised as a Christian, and when I was in high school, I led one of the largest Christian groups in that school, and it's still there about like 20 years later. So, I've always had a passion, and I guess I have a little, um, talent in helping people spiritually. So, and the key thing about like church, for example, and it's prayer, because people come together and they pray. They combine all their intentions together and their consciousness together, and then focus on one intention. And that's a powerful thing. And it doesn't have to be church. It can be anywhere. You can be just meditating. Could be, you can be Muslim. You can be Sikh. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's not about the religion. It's about the action of prayer, or action of focusing your intention together with other people. Because what happens is you create this synergistic effect, and then you're able to affect reality and affect many things using just prayer and using just intention. So yeah, I agree with you. When they make us stay home, then we're not able to meet together to basically amplify each other's fields and frequencies and intentions. So now with Chi Coils, it helps us to get that at home if we have to stay home. Now, and also if it's in a sanctuary or in a place of worship or in a place of meditation, this can amplify it further. So if we use this on a regular basis, we can literally uplift and elevate the frequency of not only ourselves, but of our community and of our city and of the world ultimately.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I immediately felt a shift. At first, when I first started using it, it was subtle at first. I was doing one for relaxation, and it really, I mean, I don't know. It kind of, have you ever done one of those flotation chambers, sensory deprivation chambers before?
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that feeling that I had, because in that, again, back to the technology facilitating our experience here, to sit down and meditate, it would take me a certain amount of time longer to get into this meditative state. But then when I would hop into the sensory deprivation chamber, it just quickened that process up so fast, where it was almost like a little time machine, where I was like, I got in there, I thought I was in there for 10 minutes. It turned out I was in there for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really just helped clear my mind and just drop me into
Yeah.
that state there. And the chi coils, I felt it was pretty much the exact same feeling
Yeah.
of just helping accelerate that process to get me where I needed to go faster.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a meditation tool. It's a meditation technology. It's like flipping a switch. You just turn it on and then it flips your mind into that state. Or it gets you there much faster than if you just used your own effort or non-effort, whatever you call it, right? To get there. And you can stay there longer, and you can train yourself to get into the even deeper, right? It's kind of like tuning anything, right? Like you got to, the more you use that neural pathway, speaking of neuroplasticity, the more you use that neural pathway, then the stronger and faster it gets. Okay, so what this does is it tunes your neural pathway so that you can get into those states faster. And even if you don't use it after a while, your neural pathways will already be like plasticized, or basically it's been rewired. Your brain has been rewired, and now it can process things differently than what you did before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good to see something like this. And you obviously had a real drive and a need to create this thing, and it came from a personal experience. And I find that in my past of wanting to change myself or improve myself or learn more or whatever, I felt like on the spectrum of things, when there was a need for me to change, it was it was much more effective versus I want something in my life and this is something I need. And in your case, needing to heal yourself, and I'm really admiring your passion and your knowledge and your skill to put something like this together, and just your attunement to just this thing that's consciousness, this awareness has been around for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that brings science and the spirit, if you will, together, I am 100% for that. And I'm wondering too, in your journey with this so far, do you have any other stories or instances of people that have had health issues or anything of like that
Yeah, well, we
that have
have
had effects?
thousands of reviews on our store, and the range of transformations is just like huge. There's just a big spectrum, right? From people's pets changing personalities to people being able to assist and help with their health conditions that they had for decades. There's one lady, her husband had severe um, lower back pain to the point that he basically had it for like 20 years, and he was in the war or something like that, and he had this injury. Oh no, he had this soccer game, not a war. It was a soccer game, and then
A war
he
of sorts.
he was in the soccer game, and then since then he was never able to recover from it. And 20 years later, he still had the
Mm.
same pain. Every day was excruciating for him, to the point where it just robbed him of his emotions and robbed him of his mood, and then it was just caused tension and irritation in the relationship, and there was just constant like bickering and arguing. And then she got the chi coils, and what happened was, after a week, he started to stop arguing as much. And then after a few more weeks after that, they say, his husband actually came to her and say, I think something's actually working. And then a couple months after that, he was like walking with no pain. And then
Wow.
like this is like 2 years ago now, right? And then like now the whole family is using this technology, and then she's telling all her friends about it because the husband's personality completely changed. He actually started cooking for her breakfast.
Wow.
Like, who would you think? They're like 60 years old or 50 years old, something like that. Like the personality completely changed, and then now he's treating her nicely, and then she thanks her for basically healing him with this technology, and this completely changed that whole family's life, right? And
Wow.
not just the disease or the back pain, it changed the whole dynamics of the whole family. And now they're able to share this with other people, and then share this with other people who help it, who need it, and then help them.
Wow.
So that's one story, and there's many of them who have, like, I'm talking about complete transformations. I'm not just talking about incremental 10%, 15% changes in their, in their heart rate variability or something, or in their relaxation, or a little bit better sleep. No, I'm talking about like dramatic experiences, dramatic shifts in their whole life, and achieved through just this frequency technology. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, obviously everything is connected. And if you have, I mean, years of embedded beliefs, experiences, relationships with yourself, with others, with your environment, that it's just, and then add on top of that, especially if you're in pain, if something could just rewire that, reformat that hard drive that you have going on in there so that all these things start to naturally self heal. It's just that's amazing. I think that's a lot of people are disheartened and programmed really to be disheartened, that there's really a hopeless hopeless attitude that, if you got something, let's say it's a psychological issue. Oh, it's so deeply embedded. It's a deep seated issue. And in reality, that's just an expression, right? It's like, how deep is it really? It's just like, what is it? As deep as your skull, as deep as like the layers under your skin where your nerve endings are, So there, it's like that's a program belief. And then there's the other one where it's like, oh, I'm my back is injured, or I can't walk anymore. Or I have this heart condition, whatever it is. Oh, it's just I have to live with this for the rest of my life. And people just that as a perpetuated belief can only be so hard for people. And that's why I asked you, it's like, how do you see this helping the world? And that's exactly what I was expecting. That's how I was feeling. This could change the world. I mean, and it has. I think their human civilization, human culture doesn't really remember what it was like to have peace, because if you look at the history, there's really no record of peace. It's just been a series of wars the whole time. But as the new science is coming out showing that human civilization and human culture is actually a lot older than we thought it was, and that it's kind of indicating, why is it that all of these indigenous cultures around the world that knew about frequencies, that knew about drumming, that knew about chanting, that knew about things like the sweat lodge and intention and relationship to nature, they knew about all this stuff. How is it that all of these cultures, indigenous cultures around the world, separated by time, geography, oceans, all seem to have a similar characteristic in terms of all that stuff? It's like, oh, wow, what a coincidence, right? It's like, how did these guys over here have the same belief system over here?
Yeah.
Oh, and I think it has to do with this lost chapter in human civilization, which I think that it's like, if we want to talk about the powers that have been that led us up to this point, they themselves have forgot and are continuing to perpetuate that forgetfulness of what it means to be a human, what it means to be alive and to be in this world right now, which is the complete opposite of what we've been programmed, which is we are here to live in harmony. We are here to enjoy life. We're here to take care of each other, take care of the planet. And that brings us into a state of thriving. It's not a struggle to survive. It's an opportunity to thrive. And when we come back together and with community. And the technology, your device here, the Chi Coil, to me is one of the most amazing indications that we are well on our way into that world. And there's going to be challenges along the way. Of course, you got these big dinosaur-like corporations like the pharmaceutical industry, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it much longer. What has worked in the past will not necessarily work forever into the future. And I think mainly it's because they're based on a scarcity model of vulnerability, of fear. And it's just impossible to really maintain that for extended periods of time.
Right.
So, just as one thing comes down, another thing is coming up in its place, and they're doing everything they can to just don't pay attention to that over there. Look over here, beam the 5G at them, get them all stressed out. But all of that stuff is so dependent on a very vulnerable system. And I just want to say thank you for making something like this and your story of how this happens, because this is extremely inspiring to me. And anybody that is watching this, I'll tell you, I mean, even my limited experience with it so far, it's very powerful technology, and the intention behind it especially is amazing.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you see that and you can feel that. I just want to share that my next project is to transform people on an even different level. So far, in the last few years, I've been working on transforming people's wellness, mental health, physical health. But now I want to transform people's bank accounts, transform people's financial health as well, because we really need it. We know that we're seeing a lot of signs, and pretty much, I think, there's going to be a recession, and there's going to be, we already have inflation. People cannot pay their bills. People are having a hard time making ends meet. So I created a program. It's called an influencer referral program. And it's just simply by using social media like TikTok to share about the product, share about this concept, and then building your own following through TikTok, which is very easy now. And now we have people that have done that, and they have been able to generate several $1,000s of income for themselves by basically sending customers to our store. And now they're able to create this income so they can offset and not have to worry about inflation or the recession by creating a secondary income stream just by using their phone, just by using their desktop or using their phone. And they can do it. I don't, it's free. They can join this program for free. I'm not charging any money for it. And so it's a really good opportunity to basically transform your finances. We also offer training, which is very minimal because it's simple. You're just using an app to create videos and just posting these videos up, right?
So is this something that you have already in place, or is this something you're currently developing? It's gonna
No, it's in place now. It's ready to go. So you just go to qilifebiz.com,
okay.
qilifebiz.com, and you can, I do a little a master class on how to do it, and then you just watch that video. You sign up, you make an application to become an affiliate, and then you go into your dashboard, and then you can just get started. You just send people the link, and then whoever customers you send to our store, you'll get paid a referral fee. And then the neat thing is, the more you can actually show other people to do what you're doing, to become other influencers, and you'll earn a small reward from that too. So basically, the plan is, I created a plan basically in 6 months for anybody to do this, to make about $8,160 a month. That's what I want to do. I want to help somebody to do this in 6 months. And we already have somebody doing this. He did it probably in just 2 months.
Wow.
So that's the opportunity. And that's the next step now, because if people are having a hard time with their finances, people's money in their bank account keeps shrinking 8% a year, then it's going to be very hard to raise their resonance. It's going to be very hard to stay positive and things like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You hear some people out there in the world, they'll say things like, "Oh, money is the root of all evil," and "Oh, it's just all some." There's this materialistic, and then we can even attribute that to these however you want to call them, the powers that be, or the powers that have been up to this point of materialism, and that's just all about getting more stuff, and and then they kind of go on this like new agey attitude that it's just, you don't even think about money, and it's really just all about love. And on certain contexts that makes a lot of sense, but I think there's some missing aspects of that. Like, number one, it's not necessarily the money is the root of all evil, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. It's the love and the fixation of materialism, which is the opposite of really all this stuff, which is generating frequency is energy, and that's a different story. And then the other most important thing is that you have to ask ourselves, is money a natural part of nature? Like, does money exist in nature? And I think to the common person, they might say no. Like, are animals like exchanging goods to make ends meet? Probably not. But if you look at the very, very complex system that is the human body, or any organism that's a multicellular superorganism with bacteria and all of this stuff going on there is a molecule called ATP, and I'm sure you're aware of this yourself. It's essentially known as the coin of the realm, and it's an energy molecule that's exchanged as a currency, and it gets generated, and it's accumulated and shared and amassed, and it gives us energy, essentially, so we can do our metabolic activities. So it's really important to move away from this idea of like polarity, where it's it's good or it's bad, and really try to find, okay, well, how do we see the technology here and use it in a different way, instead of just throwing it away? How do we use this? And what you're describing here, to me, if I'm interpreting it correctly, is a really good method of also bringing people together who have a common interest in this type of field of information, and really encouraging people to, because again, it's like, oh, if money didn't matter, then how could you say that to somebody who has nothing and is struggling every day and is constantly under stress because they can't afford to pay food, get food to feed their families? So this is a really good thing, especially right now, because we are definitely headed in a slippery slope direction right now when it comes to the economy.
Definitely. And money is energy. That's all it is, right? It's just energy. It's nothing but just a concept. It's nothing just a number in the bank account. They can print unlimited amounts of it, right?
Yep, and they do.
So it's just created out of nothing. But then it's what consensus agrees the value of it is, and it's a tool. It's just a tool that we've adopted for exchange, and for exchanging what? Exchanging energy. We're basically exchanging energy, and it's in the form of money. So yeah, I totally agree with you. So for people who think that you don't need money, then either you have already a ton of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
That usually seems to be the case, that kind of
yeah,
statement.
right. Or yeah, or people that usually it's people who don't have a ton of it, or people who have enough that they don't have to worry about it. Then they say don't need money.
Yeah.
But usually, it, yeah, people who are struggling to make ends meet, to raise kids and pay the rent, then yeah, you need money in order to keep whatever lifestyle that you have, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Keep the
it's
lights on.
basically up to your concept and about your relationship with what money is. Do you understand as just energy? Well, if you understand if it's just energy, then it also has the dark and the light side. So which side are you gonna choose? Are you gonna use the money in the light side, or you use money in the dark side, right? So, and there's lots of people using money for the dark side. Um, Definitely that. And but are you going to start generating money using the good side of the force, which is what I
Right.
want to do. So what are we doing is what I'm doing with this influencer affiliate program is you are transforming lives by telling people about the stuff that we have. So by creating value and by helping others and transform others and raising people's resonance, you're creating good and you're creating value in somebody's life. And because of that, money is generated, income is generated. So you're using the good side of this energy, right?
Yep,
That's
exactly.
what I want to do. So that's already happening. All right, we already have affiliates, and they're already making quite large incomes. Well, some of them very large, in the six figures. But then not everybody can do that. They can. I mean, not everybody can do that fast. But we have a program that if you follow for 6 months, you should be able to make a good dent on your income, on any debt that you may have, or to help pay for expenses. And this is really great for people who already have networks, or they have customers, or have clients. Let's say you're a
Yep.
yoga instructor, you're a health coach, or personal life coach, or you're a meditation guru, or whatever that is. Or you could be a chiropractor. You have your own clinic. You mean like esthetician? You mean like dietitian, or it could be a naturopathic, whatever. So you have your clients base already. Then then this is easy for you, because all you do is just add this new income stream to whatever you have doing. And it's so simple, because you just have a link, you just make a couple videos on it, share that with your network, and they'll come to our site and buy, because our, when they come and see our product, either they're so curious to try it for themselves, they order it, or they know that it works, or they heard that somebody that's using it already, and they order, or they it just works. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like this is the first step into reactivating the pyramids around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, that's what this technology essentially is. I mean, maybe we've just it's just the grid has been disconnected from a power source, if you will, or at least a field of resonance. Like even when you're talking about the DMT molecule that's rotating, the earth is rotating and there's fields that are rotating. And I feel like all it's going to take is just one little shift. And then a lot of this stuff is just really just going to all of a sudden turn back on again. Like
Yeah.
the electricity that really runs and generates our lives as a whole. And yeah, it's so cool. When you make this thing and you make it available to people, um do you have any other plans for the future with this? I mean, because you've got the different levels. You got the mini. Describe them again. You've got the mini, you've got the
Mini, 2, 3, and max.
max. Is there one day are you gonna build a giant one day?
We have one. It's called
Yeah.
it's called the Aura Coil, or med bed. You see this in the background here? So
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was another one. Okay.
that is
Wow.
the 14-inch. You know what? Give me a second. Let me get the bigger one.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because I'm just thinking, like, man, it'd be so cool to have a giant one of these somewhere, and just like put one up next to every 5G tower, and they'll all fall down.
So here's the big daddy of our coils. You ready?
I'm ready. Holy shnikes. Oh my God. Now that's kind of what I was thinking. Whoa. Oh my God. That thing has got to generate a huge field.
Yep.
Whoa. So what's that one called? Yeah, you should have that set up right back there. That's perfect.
Aura Coil.
The Aura Coil. Oh my God. That thing looks epic.
So that's a 24 inch. That's a 14 inch. So
Yeah.
and this is not even the biggest, the strongest one. We have one that's more layers, some more wiring. So this one can do 3,000 square feet.
Whoa.
So it'll cover a whole house. And what people do is they turn it into a med bed. And it's so simple. You just put it under your bed and it turns into a med bed, or put it at your feet or at the head behind you. And you basically get one of these. So I use it because you may not use your phones. You just get one of these, we call it a resonant consoles, and it'll have like the thousands of frequencies in here.
Oh, kind of like a dedicated console for the coil. Yeah.
So you could use this, and then you're controlling the power supply, and it connects to the coil.
Wow.
And you can just have this under your bed, and now you turn it into like one of those med bays from Elysium.
Yeah, right. or one of those
tank.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and just like at the med bay on the Enterprise, it's like that's straight up one of those. I mean, this kind of feels like a tricorder to me, like from Star Trek. Just like just it works. And so, also seeing something like that, do you build these yourself? Do you have a team of people that you work with? And was it always that way? Did you actually make one of these yourself for the first time, or did you?
Yeah, I made a few of these myself, and then now we have a team that makes them.
Yeah.
So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I made them by hand. It takes quite a long time to get it.
Yeah, I bet it's very intricate.
Yeah, so here's an app. Oops. And there's the console. And then I had to log in this thing. Anyway, I have to log in. But anyway, you have the thousands of frequencies in here, and you connect it to the power supply, and then it plugs into the coils, and then you can generate a huge field as large as a house.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have that.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a growing need for these things going into the future with like all the 5G and just all the electrical interference of all this just mindless frequency stuff that's just we're being bombarded with. It just seems like this is going to make so much sense for, like the people are talking about Tesla. Everyone's gonna have a Tesla battery in their house. Well, I feel like everyone's gonna have to have one of these in their house first.
Yeah, just to protect the energy field in your house. Yeah, just to create like an energy bubble. So how it works is like once you have this energy bubble, whatever frequency is coming to your house, they'll get basically nullified because you have a stronger local frequency. That's kind of shielding your workplace or your living area.
Yeah. Wow. So just maybe we're coming up on an hour here. Just maybe like one or two more questions, and would that be fine with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when it comes to your experience producing these products and hearing back from all the people that have been using them, do you find that it's because there's so many different frequencies and there's so many different things, you find that there's some that people tend to gravitate towards more, or at least at first, like, is there a way of metric of, people are really using this for relaxation, like when they first, like as an entry level?
Yeah, well, yeah.
What are the top frequencies?
Top frequencies, I'll show you right now. So we actually have like a bestsellers list. Let me see if I can find it here. So can I share my screen for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So over here. Okay. So this is our website, Qi Life Store. That's QILIFESTORE.com. So we pronounce Qi QI. That's the Chinese way of spelling it. So you go in frequencies, just click on best selling. And these are the ones, right? So infinities, pineal gland, brain boost, solfeggio, luck and fortune, weight loss, sexual wellness, after-vax detox, anti-aging, total wellness. So those are some of our top sellers there. Yeah.
Wow.
So Yeah. So infinities, that's kind of like something that you can use to break through any blockages that you have. Pineal gland activation, that's pretty straightforward. Open up your third eye. Brain boost, these are frequencies that boost brain performance. Solfeggio is good for all types of different meditation. There's 9 different frequencies for that, right? Luck and fortune actually helps you to feel more optimistic and feel more expectation of good things. So it tunes you into this positive and attractive like state of mind. And that in turn actually attracts those lucky things to you. Because a lot of times what luck is just something there, but you just didn't know.
Right. Well, yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. So weight loss is what it is. So it actually frequencies that are based on some weight loss supplements, such as Garcinia, Cambodia, to help you like increase your metabolism and so on.
And that's sort of like what we were talking about before, looking at these different molecules or connections of different cell types or lines and matching the frequencies to that.
Yes, that's
Gotcha.
right.
Cool.
Yeah. Sexual wellness, which is like testosterone and things to enhance your stamina and so on. Anti-aging, so skin detox, rejuvenation. So yeah, we use other supplements that we emulate. Total wellness practitioner collection, that's another very popular one for wellness. All types of wellness in general, which include like immune and all-purpose wellness. So this all-purpose wellness, it's good for using for anything. Like if you have pets, you don't know what's wrong with them, you just use this and they feel better. It's just like an all-purpose one. This
That's
is
a good
for
one.
this is for fatigue and for energy. We also have for DNA activation, right? DNA programming, and we also blood circulation. So this is like a package, right? There's a collection, and it has all
Gotcha.
these frequencies in it, and then sleep, and then what else?
And can you get these frequencies individually as well? Or is it they just
You
are they all
could, yeah,
included
you could. You
within?
just need to search for them
Right. But
individually.
this is
But
I love that you have them all bundled together in
yeah,
different
so these
energy
are
sizes.
the packages that people tend to get the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. Wow. And as we close up here, for anyone, just tell us again, best way to reach you, best way to contact you if they have any questions, or your website, and any closing remarks here. I'm thrilled just to know you and to have experienced this Coil myself, and I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of ancient civilizations and bringing science and spirit back together, and this is holding this in my hand. I'm like, oh, finally, I'm holding the physical manifestation of what I've been hoping for a very long time. So yeah, where do we best reach you?
Yeah, so our website is qilifestore.com. That's QILIFE store.com. And you'll find all that we talked about there. If you want to reach me, I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. Just search for David Wong Mastery or Coil, QICOIL, and you can find me on one of those platforms.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, David, thank you so much for your time, for all the work that you're doing, your heart and your mind coming together and bringing this technology to the world, because we need it. And it's exciting to feel hope and reassurance that, we are working towards something really positive here. And let's build a new paradigm together. I really appreciate you, David. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.